So you think about buying a property in Fort Lauderdale, or you currently own a property here in Fort Lauderdale. If that's the case, then you found the right video. Today we're going to go through some statistics and data and see who the housing market is good for right now, whether that's buyers or sellers or both. We'll go through the actual data, the good and the bad, not just the fluff. Real estate is local. If you're trying to look at national headlines and apply those to the Fort Lauderdale marketplace, you're looking at it all wrong and you're using all the wrong data. The Fed's mandate has been higher for longer on rates, and we continue to have constrained housing supply. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how that's affecting the single family home, condo, and townhome markets here in Fort Lauderdale. All right, let's begin with single family homes. All right, let's begin with single family home data. Moving from left to right here, start with median price sold. To recap, I don't put a ton of weight in this one. It's too easy to push this number around. That being said, we continue to see median prices rise in Fort Lauderdale. I've said, look, the good stuff is selling. People pay more for the renovated, well-located, turnkey stuff, and I think that's just what you see play out here, right? Total number of properties sold. This is one of the big stats that I do want to highlight because I like to watch the most. That being said, little caveat here, because we are in a very expensive marketplace, if one property sells for $30 million, it can skew the median housing pricing along with total volume stats. So what you can't fake are how many people are actually coming in, raising their hands, and buying a home. So look, over 24% month over month jump here. That's just a big jump. Up to 173 sales. So look at this, on a tear since January, right? 96 sales, up to 173. So that is certainly good and welcome news for sellers, right? List to sale prices staying pretty flat here. To review, this basically tells you how far sellers had to come off their original asking price to get their property to sell. So if someone came on market at a price too high or saw too few offers, they'll close at a price below their listing, and that'll be reflected here. So if the seller was forced to take a reduction, you'll see it show up here. So it's a good stat to watch in terms of keeping your finger on the pulse of the market, I think. Days on market, another good one to watch, right? So for sellers, this will tell you how many days you should expect your home to sell within on average. For buyers, this will tell you if a home has been sitting on the market for a long period of time relative to other listings. Of course, this is going to vary by price point, but please keep in mind that this reflects the number of days a home was listed as active on the MLS before it went to pending sale. So the time it was pending does not count in this figure. Sellers don't want to see this number rise too far above the averages. I think if you look at this chart and kind of eyeball it over the history, I think you can use this 30-day mark and say that would be about the average. So I think sales right now are taking significantly longer than they have historically, or at least over the last 5 years anyways. Median price per square foot, just like overall median pricing, I don't put a ton of weight into this. So waterfront sells on a higher per square foot basis versus non-waterfront, but it all gets lumped in here together, so I think it does lose some value. That being said, looks like we're still making a run up here north, right? Up over 17% month over month. Total dollar volume, something that is worth paying attention to. It gives you an idea of the total breadth of the market. So now again, some large sales can really skew this number. So keep in mind, seasonality should start to pick things up here. We're getting into that time of year where this should heat up. So don't be surprised if next month we see total dollar volume rising again. As for now, take a look since January. Look at this, right? We were just around 98 million in January, up to 248. So it's just on an absolute tear on an absolute basis, right? All right, and here we are at my other most favorite statistic along with the number of properties that have sold. Months of housing supply in Fort Lauderdale. As a recap, 6 months of supply nationally anyways is supposed to be reflective of a neutral market favoring neither buyers nor sellers. But can you really apply that 6-month line to the Fort Lauderdale marketplace. Look at this chart. In the past 5 years, we've only seen 6 months of supply get exceeded. 1, 2, 3. That's it. 3 months over the last 5 years. I would say, just eyeballing again, 4 months is more our average line. So I'll tell you now from working with buyers, it certainly feels like there's more inventory now than there has been, which is great for buyers. But keep in mind, it does look like supply is starting to tighten as we're headed back down here. All right, let's switch over to condos and townhomes. Couple of little side note here. Condos, especially older condos close to the ocean, they've got some big headwinds right now in the forms of milestone structural integrity reports, along with skyrocketing insurance costs. And so what I've seen anecdotally anyways is a sharp rise away from the condos and into townhomes for buyers. Why does this make sense? Largely because your HOA fee will cover exterior insurance costs in most townhome cases, and because you're sharing that cost versus a single family home where you're shouldering it yourself. And unlike a condo where you also don't have things in the budget like a valet or full-time management or cleaning staff or anything like that, the carry cost of townhomes right now looks really appealing. That being said, I have been having this discussion with a lot of people about how if you're looking at a condo right now, may not be such a bad time to buy in the face of assessments if you're purchasing that condo with the current owner paying all the assessments at the time of sale. Why do I bring this up? Well, because it means you're benefiting from that owner paying all of your costs to upgrade the building. So you're walking into a more upgraded building at the same price, hopefully, that people were paying or around it that people were paying before the assessment happened. So I think it's an interesting thing. We'll see how it plays out. I'm kind of anecdotally keeping my eye on it. So anyways, median sold pricing at $552,500, still on the high side of the chart here. Let's not focus too much on it, right? Number of properties sold up 11% month over month. We're certainly not out of the woods here if you're a seller, but a positive development nonetheless. Considering the January market right here was about left for dead, right? So we are still at the bottom of this chart, I think, if you look at it, right? I have a couple of condo listings right now that historically they would have sold quickly, and they're taking longer to sell than normal. So my general feeling is buyers have accepted that rates aren't coming down. They're not in a rush, nevertheless. That being said, their rent keeps rising also. So, we'll see how that battle plays out. But what I've been seeing a bit of that's interesting is interest from investors. I haven't heard from investors over the last few years. They kind of largely disappeared. And now I'm getting more interest again from them. So just kind of a casual observation, but interesting nonetheless. All right, list to sales price. Looks like we're continuing to fall here. So a few things. Buyers, it looks like there's some wiggle room on pricing and allows you to negotiate a bit. I certainly have been. Things I'm putting under contracts for buyers right now, there's some good deals out there. Some significant contracts below asking prices, at least for deals I'm involved in. So sellers, that likely means you came to market too high. The further we head down on this chart, the better it is to be a buyer, right? All right, of course, sellers would like days on market to push way back down here towards this 14-day insanity, which we're a far cry from now, right? Yeah. So looks like we're climbing again. Buyers clearly have an edge here as I see it. It means buyers aren't as pressured to make decisions as they once were. Again, if you were down here in this 14-day thing, you went to go see a property, you had to make a decision basically that day or the next, otherwise the property was gone. Now, it's pretty likely that if you go to see a place and you kind of like it and you want to think about it, it'll probably be there the following week. Again, depending on price point. But anyways, the lower the days on market, the faster a buyer has to act is kind of the underlying theme there. So 56 days on market it's just a pretty big number. We have to go back to, 2021 to see this kind of number. Price per square foot coming off the peak, right? Looks like it may be bouncing again, but we'll see if it resumes its march north. Again, not going to put a whole lot of weight into this one. Total dollar volume up 22% month over month. Big move. Since January, from 70 to 112, we're up 50%, about 47%. So be really interesting to see where this goes next month, but again, kind of positive development for sellers there. Oh man, so while there was some glimmers of good news here for sellers, I now give you the doom and gloom. Months of supply. Remember, single family homes where we saw 6 months of inventory, only 2 or 3 months in the last 5 years. Does this chart look a little bit different to you? Here's the 6-month line. Right? Months of supply, in my opinion, gives you the best pulse of the market. It allows you to take a quick look and see who's the market better for right now, buyers or sellers, right? Right now, sellers in Fort Lauderdale, massive headwinds in terms of months of supply. Look at this alone, 12-month change. Look at that number. 89% more homes on the market right now than there were this time last year. Just kind of let that sink in. 89% more supply. So we're up over 9 months of supply in condos and townhomes in Fort Lauderdale, and just clearly favoring buyers here. And I mean, look at this march. From 2 months of supply. Man. I mean, we only hit 10 months here a few times. Look. We'll see what next month looks like. I'll tell you this, I'm not going to be surprised if that number keeps rising, because I'm hearing from a whole lot of people that are asking me to come and look at their property to list for sale. So, and there's a number of different reasons for it. It's interesting to watch. I think we're clearly favoring buyers in this market. One thing I will predict for you though is I don't think this is going to last. I think there's an open window right now for buyers, but it'll shut. Unless, of course, people stop moving to Florida. I don't see that one happening either, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. So, not building any more beachfront property, or not building any more ocean. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys. If you want to grab a coffee or a cocktail and talk about real estate, I'd love to do that. If you're not around here and you want to give me a call, a text, or an email, just as good. If you're thinking about buying or selling, whether it's now or a year from now, let's start the conversation. I will see you guys next month. Take care.